Dr. Vyas is not only a very, very gracious, caring, compassionate doctor, he's a family man. He's given many, many years of service to the Indian community. He has held a number of positions in the Gujarati Brahmin Samaj. He's been the president of the Australian Indian Medical Graduate Association. He's been the man that has not only been there for the community, but he's been there for his family, his siblings, his parents, and his two amazing boys. I have known Jyotika and Sunil personally since I was 18 years old, and that goes back a very, very long way. Jyotika was just a newly married bride in the family with a little baby Neeraj that she had given birth to at the time. It is an absolute honor and privilege to have known both of you and the family for all these years. Sunil, I'd love for you to come up and give the President's speech because I think you have done amazing work, and without hearing it from you, I don't think we can really appreciate what you have done for UIA. Please welcome President of UIA, Dr. Sunil Vyas.
Thank you, Preeti. Such beautiful thoughts and sharing old memories. But I'm just taken aback. You've been so gracious and so kind in my introduction. Really appreciate that. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Executive Committee and Governing Council of United Indian Association, my warm welcome to Honorable Manish Gupta, Consul General of India in Sydney, Mrs. Nimisha Gupta, Emeritus Chair of Multicultural New South Wales, Dr. G.K. Harinath, who's on his way, Mrs. Gayatri Harinath, Honorable Jodie McKay, National Chair of AIBC, husband partner, Mr. Stephen Feeney, our eminent speakers for the day, Dr. Dhamika Mistry and her husband, Sarath, Mrs. Apurva Sundar and her partner, Mr. Gunjan Pagare, and Mrs. Nilima Pagare. Thank you for being here. Our esteemed leader and a person I have great respect for, Dr. Ayaz Chaudhry, who's one of the senior leaders of the Bangladesh community here in Sydney. Dr. Jessie Chaudhry. You got Mrs. Suadwani here. Welcome, Mrs. Suadwani, who pioneered International Women's Day for UIA. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I acknowledge and pay my respects to the Darug Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, and the elders past, present, and emerging. And before I continue, let me say a special thanks to Honorable Manish Gupta ji. You, sir, have won our hearts. You feel like part of Sydney's Indian community family, and yet during your tenure you had to carry out such great responsibilities through the big dangers of the pandemic. You led the Vande Bharat mission for Indian Australians and said for their repatriation back home. And you had such difficult situations to tackle, but you've done them with such courage, bravery, and with such great diplomacy. And at the same time, you had such great Australia-Indian relationship issues to deal with during your tenure. Major ministerial meetings have been here, so that's a great responsibility for the Consul General. And thanks to people like you, Australia-Indian relationships are emerging and getting better and better. I salute you, sir. So thank you all in joining UIA for commemorating International Women's Day. Today, in celebrating this important day, let us reflect on the path that many remarkable women who have come before us have walked, and the path that today's generation continues in the struggle for equality and empowerment. And in doing so, creating a brighter future for us all. Today, we celebrate the important day that is International Women's Day. On this special day, we also remember with love and respect our partners and the world around us. Let us reflect on and be inspired by the work and achievements of remarkable women who are icons not only for women, but also for the rest of humanity. Let us be inspired by such women and put our efforts in the ongoing struggle for women's equality and emancipation. In this respect, today we are proud to honor some selfless women who have been serving the community over many years. We see talented and hardworking women who, often with the burdens of onerous home commitments, manage to carry out successful entrepreneurial ventures. Today, we will also be recognizing some such women. We can find some amazing stories of outstanding women in every sphere of life. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to share some inspirational stories of some women that I am personally in awe of. Ladies and gentlemen, fans of Bollywood songs, and I'm one of them, will be able to recall many beautiful songs wherein the male lover extols his beloved's beauty by poetically comparing her to the moon. However, ISRO in India, director of Chandrayaan-2 project, Dr. Muthaiya Vanitha, is that remarkable woman scientist responsible for sending India's space mission to the moon. I believe this is sheer scientific poetry. Likewise, Dr. Ritu Karidar is another one of India's remarkable rocket women, who is one of the leaders of India's interplanetary mission to Mars. Talking of space, let me also acknowledge our own Catherine Bennell, who only last week was named as Australia's first female astronaut. Thank you. Apart from such women at the cutting edge of technology, we can find women reaching out to help humanity in their hour of need. You will all have heard of Major Dr. Bina Tiwari. Within hours of the terrible earthquake in Turkey, she and her team from India's NDRF were on the ground and set up a field hospital, helping to save lives and tending to the injured in this major disaster. This, in spite of facing the dangers of further aftershocks of the earthquake. I salute such a human being who has an inner core of steel, but shrouded in the soft cloak of compassion and care, which is typical of womanhood. These remarkable women have brought about their outstanding achievements in spite of having to overcome the many biases that women are faced with every day. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier I mentioned women's entrepreneurship and my respect for them. I would count my mother, Mrs. Sushila Vyas, as one such. As a young person, my only option for further studies was to go to the UK. To do so, my parents had to send me from Kenya, a third world country, to an advanced Western country. A very expensive proposition indeed, and especially so for a salaried person like my father. In order to cover my expenses, my mother set up an enterprise of making pova, or flattened ground rice. This innovative example of hard work and entrepreneurship by a woman helped me in acquiring my higher education. Friends, while commemorating International Women's Day is a great opportunity to celebrate important milestones and achievements by women across the world, this day also has ongoing significance. It should remind us of the immense task that remains ahead of us. Despite more female graduates at university and advances in education opportunities, we are not seeing equal representation for women in business, in industry, in our political leadership, and in pay parity. Indeed, while we commemorate all the great achievements of women, tragically, in Australia, every week, one woman dies at the hands of her partner due to domestic violence. Both in our local Indian origin and wider Australian communities, the abuse of women physically, mentally, financially, and emotionally continues. It is a reminder to us all, but in particular to men, that we must do more than just celebrate International Women's Day. Men all over Australia must use such days to commit to calling out such behavior, commit to being better. Indeed, I believe men must become proactive allies for women in fighting to overcome the barriers and hurdles that women face. I believe that such awareness is slowly but surely increasing, and events such as International Women's Day help us to focus on that. I well remember a time when attending International Women's Day events, there would only be a token few males present. Today, I feel gratified and proud to see so many men present here at US International Women's Day, and salute you for your support in helping to overcome the biases that women face. In supporting women for this noble cause, we all have a role to ensure we combat the biases and we may personally hold, and to commit to important shifts in thinking as we move into a new era. We must hold ourselves and those around us to better standards in our treatment of women, both at home, in our families, and in our professional world. In doing so, we not only do what is right in terms of our moral and ethical compass, but we also nurture for the future and ensure more women like those I have mentioned can lead the way and guide our entire world into a new and exciting era. To do so, we must choose to challenge ourselves, challenge the structural barriers facing women, challenge ourselves to understand our own biases and actions to take the step towards a better future for all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Sunil. Ladies and gentlemen, President of the United India Association. Next,